And that I'm doing using method called cubic spline filtering. It's a little different from the conventional FIR filtering, but it's very, very important and very effective in this method. What it does is it basically fits a curve. Can you see that small sinusoid kind of thing? It fits a curve there, and then it does a spectral subtraction. These are the results of the cubic spline filtering. Can you see there's a slight sinusoid there, and the baseline is completely straight. Now, motion artifact. I've removed motion artifact using zero phase FIR filtering, and this is how it looks. That is the motion artifact in blue. Sorry. The blue one is the motion artifact, and the one in red is the one that's void of motion artifact. Another example, if you can see, it's a very, very effective method. The huge pen there, and the straight signal there. For example, this is a long term, this is a 50-second ECG. This is my ECG, by the way. Yeah, now the high frequency noise is removed using a technique called as baseline monitoring. Wavelet filtering. I've used the DB4 basis for denoising. If you can see the high frequency noise here, it's all gone. It's a very, very smooth signal. Now, ischemic detection. Like I told you, just before a person gets a heart attack, there is a change in his ST segment. Now, how do I test my algorithm? Because there is a specific algorithm that has been designed for this ST detection. Now, luckily, I'm a healthy man. I don't have any kind of heart trouble. So, from where will I get my signal to test my algorithm? This is where the MIT database comes in. Now, MIT, they have a database for all kinds of physiological signals, rather. And they have a database called as the ST database, STT database. What it is that signals from patients, this is an ambulatory signal. So a person was wearing a device and going on with his daily activities, and the signal was recorded till he died, basically. So this, in a way, represents his ECG signal just before the onset of his heart attack. You can see this is the ST elevation. And if you can see, this has a slight baseline wander. So if I don't remove this baseline wander in the signal, I'll never be able to detect my ST elevation. And now, what is unique in this? This is a DSP-based detection device, a digital signal processor. This is the digital signal processor that's been developed by TI, and they've also developed a front-end board to receive the signal. So basically, I'll be using this device for all my analysis. And this is just for testing purposes. In the final device that will come out in the market, it will just use the DSP that is here. That is the processor. It's a C5505, very low power, fixed point processor, quite efficient. And it's kind of perfect for my application. So that's how it's board on, and the other references. I'm grateful to Dr. Ko, who's my advisor in this project. Any questions?
Any questions?
So, it wasn't very right there at the end. Have you actually been able to analyze? Right. So to make sure that all your noise removal isn't removing the actual signal.
Right. I've actually done that. I haven't put in the ST elevation results because it's actually a little difficult to interpret. What it does is it samples the signal into parts, and which part has ST elevation, it gives a tick, sort of 1 for yes, there is a detection, 0 for no detection. So that's what I've actually done it, but I haven't actually put in the results. So basically what this is that it has a lot of applications. It need not be for a person who has a heart trouble, who's putting it on and walking. I'll tell you one thing, most of the deaths in hospitals, in ICUs especially, is because of the fact that, suppose it's in the night time, the patient is sleeping and he gets a heart attack. There is no one to monitor him you can't expect a person to sit right by his bed and look at his ECG all day, all night rather. So what this does is, suppose a patient is in the ICU on his bed and he gets a heart attack. What this does is it gives a sort of an alarm, monitoring, alerting the authorities, so immediate medical action can be taken. So that's it. You have a question?
Yeah, so more of a medical question, I guess. But how, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, how long do you see these elevation into ST levels before you have a heart attack? What's the time scale? Is it like seconds, hours, days?
It can be, we can't say. Sometimes it can be just 5 seconds before the heart attack.
Okay.
It might just start to show up in the signal. 5 seconds before the heart attack, the ST kind of level, the ST elevation begins to show in the ECG. Sometimes it can be minutes, sometimes it can be hours. But mostly it's 10 minutes before a heart attack, you have the ST elevation. It's kind of stupid actually, if you think. Let's see if I've developed a device for this. If I look, suppose I'm the patient, I wear my device, and suddenly I look up at my device, it gives an alarm. You're about to get a heart attack. Freak out. So you don't want to know that you're going to get a heart attack. So I mean, this is a beginning level. What we are thinking is that what it can do, instead of telling me, it can at least transmit my signal to a doctor, or at least alert 911 or some medical authority. Suppose that's only for high risk patients. If I'm high risk patients, I know at some point I will get a heart attack. I know that already. But if I don't have a prior warning, there is no chance. The chances of survival will go down, because before you go to the hospital, the doctors don't know what exactly was the cause of your heart attack. If I have this device, the 5 minutes before I get a heart attack, it detects and it transmits the signal to the authorities. And let's say in future, if it transmits to my cell phone or an iPhone app, rather, iPhone app would be ideal. Just puts an iPhone and it goes. The signal goes to the hospital, and the doctors can actually take a look at his ECG before he comes in. So it will save a lot of time, and life-saving measures can be.
If you said a single device already available on the market, so
I'll tell you, Philips has actually made the device, but their application is kind of different. That is for arrhythmias. Arrhythmias is another disease, but it's like I told you, to detect arrhythmias you need ambulatory ECGs, but that doesn't detect ST elevation. It detects another disease it's another class of disease rather, called as arrhythmias. It's available. It's a very, very small device, probably this small. It runs on 2 AAA size batteries. It's by Philips and it costs around $10,000.
how about one that you were showing on the slides? What is that one?
That is a primitive AECG device. That's a very primitive
I
device.
mean, you were showing what these
Yeah.
Is it also for ischemia?
No, that's not for ischemia. There is no device for ischemia detection, ambulatory ECG device for ischemia detection at the moment. See, although the idea is that most of the algorithms that are described, the baseline one, removal of the ambulatory noise, that's been around since the 70s. Even the ST elevation detection algorithm was developed in the 70s. It's just that we didn't have the right kind of devices, the processing power to actually implement this. Now that, processing power is plenty, these devices have become more feasible. Thanks.
Move on to the next speaker. Next speaker is Steve Luna from physics. He'll be talking about the thermoelectric properties